people were talking about dating in the CS Joseph group or another Facebook group. I'm in multiple MBTI groups on Facebook. I forget which group it was, but we were talking about dating and our experiences with each one. And so I thought I might make a video about the ENTP perspective of dating an ENFJ. Myself personally, I've dated three ENFJs. I was also the best man at an ENFJ's wedding, and they've been a part of my life for a long time. Um, the nice things about ENFJs is they find you, which is interesting to me, and because arguably the most extroverted type. I argue ENTJs are, but it's all debatable between person to person. Everyone has a different upbringing. But ENFJs definitely are very extroverted people. They have high FE, which means they're all about being caring and all about being SE childlike and giving other people a good experience, wanting to be with people. They're triple interest, double affiliative. They're just people, and they're great people to date, especially for an ENTP. And I'm going to tell you why. This is a relationship where the only thing I can complain about being in it with them is there was no conflict. ENTPs like conflict in a relationship, just so you know, and they like to be challenged and they like to be able to challenge the other person. And so the only negative I can think of when I was with an ENFJ was the fact that they never ever challenged me. They just listened to everything I had to say, either pretend to agree with me just to avoid conflict. Because ENFJs for the most part don't like conflict. And so that is a thing. Most NFs don't like conflict. I mean, ENFPs, I guess, kind of do. But so let's just go over some things about what was so great about him and why it worked out pretty well. Uh, any and I is all fairly quickly. He's gonna want things. He's gonna have goals and set things. I'm gonna figure out what his goals are. Now his goals are a little bit more responsible for mine, so I had to kind of like tone it down a little bit. But it's not a big problem to figure out their NI. The NI really works well. What do ENFJs always seem to want to do? They always want to have sex for some reason. I don't know. I just think ENFJs are like the most horny types. It's just weird, and I know they're like really into kink, and so like I don't do that kind of stuff. FI doesn't like trying new things in the first place, and so like don't don't try to put me in like some kind of sex chair and swing around because my ENFJ X, he's with his new boyfriend, who I think is an ISTJ. They're all into that crap now, and they're like handcuffs, whips, and sex swings, things like that. Anyways, uh, yeah, so ENFJs are like really, really, really um, virile. Okay. And then you have SESI. And so the ENTP obviously wants to receive the experience. ENFJs want to give the experience, and so those mix really well. The SE child is very loving, very caring. Um, they kind of like want to communicate about different things and stuff like that, and so that works out pretty well. Um, with these two functions, FE and SE, they are very big pamperers. ENFJs like to cater to people, take you out to dinner. They like to show off with different things like that. They like the really good cooks. They work really hard around the house. They're just pretty handy, believe it or not. Most people don't realize that ENFJs are just so handy around the house. They do aspire to be an ISTP, and so my ENFJ ex, who I lived with for about 7 months, he's just like, I just bring him home like organic food because I was in charge of what we ate because I have more experience in nutrition than he did, and he never really caused any beef. It was just like, okay, I have this, and he just like go on the internet, look up something, and just like make it. I mean, he was a phenomenal cook, you know, and so it was really nice, uh, yeah, and so it's a very chill relationship, the ENTP and the ENFJ in that sense. What I noticed were some negatives with it, besides having sex all the time and not really having any conflict. Um, and you kind of like the same things because your TI and their TI is both pessimistic. It's a inferior function or a parent function, so it's kind of similar in a lot of ways. Your FE child is very close to FE hero, and so it's kind of similar in a lot of ways. And so you want to help people in similar ways. And so there's not a little whole conflict like that, and then you just have like the wantingness and the sexual sides to that of everything. I think what the issue was with the ENFJ that made me feel bad was If you look at their FE hero is just like a feeling vampire that just wants to do so much for everybody. And they're, if you ever talk to like ENFJs, if you're just meeting one for the first time, they always do that, like the analysis where they're trying to like read your moral value. They're like really judging you in a way, not necessarily in the negative way like INFPs or INFJs do, but like they're just trying to measure that moral value. Do you have values? Are you, a value driven person? And they're constantly trying to find values in the ENTP that just aren't there and are never going to be there. ENTPs don't really pick a side of the fence. They're always like kind of in the middle. They find both sides pretty stupid, and for the most part, neither side's ever on our side. And that's just the way we see view the world. And so if they have a real interest, like I don't know, in veganism, you're kind of like, well, I can be the devil's advocate for meat eaters or vegans, and things like that, and that kind of can piss them off. And they're constantly searching for that. And so I kind of felt bad because like I saw a lot more, activism in the ENFJ and what he wanted to do. Versus what I wanted to do. I mean, I'm not against activism, but it's not going to be my whole life. I got other stuff going on. You know, um, uh, and so, but with me, the FE child can go to his FI nemesis, and that was pretty easy. I always kind of knew how he felt in a way, and so his feelings were pretty easy for me to monitor, but he was always searching for, mine, and it wasn't there, you know. SI trickster, ENFJs are gonna have a bunch of crap all over the house. Like they're gonna have like every SE child I've ever met always has color coordinated clothes. His closet just loaded. ENTJs, ENFJs, every single one of them always has that. Like the clothing lines going all the way down, color coordinated in their bathroom. This is how you know if they're an ENFJ or an ENTJ. Go into their bathroom, open up their closet where they keep like toiletries and stuff like that, like toothpaste, shaving cream, things like that. Every single one of them is really crazy about how much they keep. They keep a lot of shaving cream. They keep a lot of toothpaste, a lot of toothbrushes, spare, everything. I mean, you can call this every NJ does this, but the ENJs are the worst. And so like tons of deodorants, just like stuff so they never ever forget. They always have it, either their closets and things like that. They're always like organized and things like that. So that's fine, because ENTPs can adapt to any kind of system and things like that. So that's kind of fun about that dating situation. For the most part, yeah. So that's like, to me, as an ENTP, you have the ENFJ, which is a real cool relationship to be in, but it lacks conflict. And for the ENFJ side, this is how my perspective is when I was reading them, is they're kind of searching for like this moral compass that the ENTP just doesn't have. And and so they kind of find it elsewhere, which is fine. I do recommend this relationship. It's a really good relationship, but those are just some things, outside of what you might be able to see right away. And so that's my thoughts on my relationships.